Hi, boys and girls. I'm back again with the one and only Bob. I want to remind you of a few things that were happening last time we read. So Julia and Bob had gone to visit Ivan at the zoo, and then they got to see Ruby, and Ruby was asking questions and all sorts of things. We got to learn a little bit about the family that Ruby's been living with. And then the weather started to get pretty bad, so Ruby had to go back inside with her family. So now it's just Bob hanging out with Ivan again. So if you're following along in your own book, we're going to be on page 136 today. And this part is called The Beginning. In the distance, thunder growls, long and low and not giving up. Reminds me of my stomach pre-breakfast. I test the air. Weird. Something isn't right. Julia! It's George rushing over. Hurry up, you need to get inside. George has an odd scent, like he's on guard. I've only smelled it a few times on him. I look up. The clouds have turned strange shades of green and yellow and gray, clustered together like rows of fat marshmallows. It's so ugly, it's beautiful. I can't stop looking. The air goes still, like a cat before it leaps for its prey. Kenyani and Ivan and Kudzu are racing toward the gorilla villa. A fat raindrop hits my nose. It tastes wrong. How can rain taste dangerous? People are yelling, running, opening umbrellas, covering their heads with maps of the park. More drops. At the far end of the field, I can just make out Akello herding Ruby along. Another drop. A dry one, like a pebble. Hail, George says. Julia, now. He grabs her hand. Rumbling, the sky boils and swirls. Bob, Julia calls. Come on. I move to leap off my perch, to run to Julia. I've done it 1,000 times, but this time I lose my footing. I never slip. I am as nimble as Nutwit. But the rain, the hail. I let out a yelp as I land on Ivan's side of the wall, splat in the mud. Bob! Julia screams. He'll be okay, George says. I can smell Julia's fear and George's doubt as he drags her away. Torn apart. Noise. It's all noise. Noise that hurts. Noise like a massive truck bearing down on us. The power of its engine, the inescapable wheels, the relentless roar. Nothing to see, nothing even to smell. Just the terrible sound of the world disintegrating. No way. I'm flying. Airborne. Not far, just into the nearby giraffe domain. Not high, just enough to buzz the tops of trees. Not long, just long enough to stop breathing. But I fly. I'm not alone. Half the world seems airborne. Trees, boards, bicycles, trunks of roof, umbrellas, chairs, bits and pieces of life. It all levitates past like some horrible magic trick. Something hits my head. A toy truck, maybe? And I yelp in pain. And I'm terrified. So scared, I pee myself. And I'll be the first to admit it. You try it and see how dry your underwear stays. But still, I fly. Not like in the box with my brothers and sisters, not like with the owl. This is different. This is me, Bob the dog, spending a moment as Bob the bird. Landing. It's over. I land, oomph, hard on my rear and slide to a stop directly underneath Stretch, the oldest giraffe in the place. The roar, and by now I've realized we're talking a real live tornado, vanishes as quickly as it came, leaving a vacuum. A silence that hurts even more than the noise. Bad dog. And this is why I am a bad dog. Not bad dog, like I chewed your favorite slippers. Bad dog, like I'm not a good representative of my species, of any species. I don't think. Ivan, Ruby, Julia, are they all right? I've got to find them. That's what a hero dog would do. One of those guys on the Man's Best Friend show. Hero dogs dash into flames and dig into rubble. Hero dogs are fearless. Nope, not my style. What do? Bob, untamed, undaunted? I howl like a newborn puppy. Honest. I'm not hurt. Banged up a little, sure, but nothing major. And I don't howl for long, but it's what I do. Like I said, I ain't a saint, but at least I'm honest about my failings. Stretch. Slowly, with some difficulty, Stretch peers down between his two front legs. His body partially shelters me from the rain. A piece of canvas has draped itself around his neck like an ugly scarf. I swallow my howls. We look at each other, too stunned to form actual words. Finally, Stretch clears his throat. Hello, he says in a strangely calm voice. What kind of animal might you be, if you don't mind me asking? Dog. Didn't think you guys flew. We don't, as a rule. I pick myself up, move out from under Stretch, and take in my surroundings. The pelting rain has slowed some, and the wind has dulled. What was that? Stretch asks, trying and failing to yank the canvas off his impressive neck. Tornado, I think. I've seen tornadoes on the Weather Channel. They look like water swirling down a drain. If the water were black and full of trucks and trees, they look like death. I gaze up at him. I had to crane my neck. You okay? Yep, says Stretch, but from what I can see, a lot of other folks aren't. Aardvarks. Across the way, I hear something. A small squeak. Who lives over there? I ask Stretch. The Aardvark family, he replies. Lovely neighbors. Carefully, I venture across Stretch's domain. The sky is dark and as dusk. I hear a flutter of wings overhead. It's Mitch, the mockingbird. He's missing some feathers. Bob, he calls, settling on a fence post. Was that you I saw up there? Yep. How are things looking? Not good. Lot of damage. Well, take care of yourself, I say. Likewise. He pauses to straighten a wayward feather. Little hint, by the way. Next time you fly, try flapping your paws. I make my way over a broken wooden barrier, tiptoe over some scattered glass and twisted metal, across the paved path, and arrive at the aardvarks. More sounds. They're coming from what looks like a demolished keeper shed. I hesitate, not sure what to do. It's a big mess, and I'm a small guy. Also, my head hurts. I feel dazed, fuzzy. My ears are ringing. I yank off some small stray boards with my mouth. For the record, small stray boards have small stray nails in them. Underneath the boards are 3 shivering aardvarks, 2 babies and a mom. They're strange looking, I gotta say, with their long piggy snouts and bunny ears. You good? I ask. Whoa, what was that? The mother manages to ask. Some seriously bad weather. Is it over? I consult the wind. Doubt it. You think everybody's okay? She asks. Don't know. Sure hope so. And then it hits me. Ivan, Ruby, Julia, George. Look, I gotta go, I say in a strangled voice. Any part of your indoor den survive? She nods. Think so. Go there. Lie low. Where's Pedro? The littlest aardvark asks. I feel my head with my front paw. A nice bump is forming. Who's Pedro? Our keeper. He'll come, I promise. Are you sure? The baby asks. I'm sure, I say. But of course, I'm lying. Sounds. The eerie quiet doesn't last. Before long, the squeals and shrieks and brays and squawks of the animal kingdom crowd the air. Terror, confusion, pain. From far off comes the wailing of sirens. Car alarms blare from the parking lot. Now and then people shout. Cries for help translate into any language, human or animal, fish or fowl. Never want to hear those again. Never, ever. Smells. And the smells. Like I said, feelings have a scent. I figured I'd smelled pretty much everything there was to inhale in this big old world. But the smell of sheer terror, of helplessness, of blood, of broken bones, of torn wings, well, turns out there are a whole lot of smells I've never encountered. Didn't know how lucky I've been. Surveying the damage. I pick my way past the devastation. The tornado has left a random path of misery. The African aviary is gone, simply gone. The kids' farm nearby, untouched, although there are some very flustered chickens clucking like all get out from the safety of their henhouse. I see few people. Hopefully a lot of potential visitors were scared off by the threatening weather. It looks like some of the animals listened to their early warning systems, those little voices inside telling them something bad was coming their way. Quite a few seem to have taken cover before the brunt of the storm. Wish I'd paid more attention to my own internal weatherman. I pass the penguin viewing window, the one that allows visitors to watch their graceful swimming. Several penguins are underwater, swooping and swiveling. Joe! Jim! I call, and they both swim over. Bert okay? I ask. Baby Bert pops his little head out of the water. Hey, Bob, did you know we're having a storm? Yeah, I noticed. All good here, Bob, Joe says. You? Yep, took a little flight, though. Daddy, says Bert, can I fly? In the air? Nope, says Joe. You fly underwater. You're a penguin. Bob flew, and he's a dog. Bob is a very special dog, says Joe, and gives me a look, a grown-up just between us look that says, we're all right, but what about the others? Baby Sloth. I say goodbye to the penguins and continue on my way. So much has simply vanished. Walls, fences, barriers, netting. The orderly world of the park, with its careful lines defining territory, isn't so defined anymore. Many of the habitats are still entirely intact, but not all. What will this place be without fences and walls? You didn't need to watch the Nature Channel to know that certain animals like to eat certain other animals. I pass 2 squirrel monkeys swinging happily from the children's carousel. A pelican watches from her perch on a popcorn stand. I see a camel and a zebra together, looking stunned to be standing side by side. I notice a red lemur, Merlin, on a picnic table. Lemur eyes are always big, if you ask me, but Merlin's eyes look like they're about to pop right out of his head. I make my way through splintered wood and glass and shards and approach the gift shop. It's roofless. Stuffed toy animals are scattered here and there like they tried to make a break for it. An I Love Koalas t-shirt dangles from a tree branch. Around a corner, I see a baby sloth, Sylvia. I think her name is. She's resting on a muddy plush giraffe. Hey there, I say. She makes a tiny noise. A sloth sob, I guess. Let's find your mom and dad. I'm not one for hugging and licking and such, but I give her a little nudge with my nose. Sylvia somehow manages to grab the giraffe, then looks up at me like she expects to hitch a ride. How the heck do you pick up a baby sloth? It's not exactly part of my job description, and sloths are so, slothy. Carefully, I pick her up by her scruff, the way you do with a puppy. She puts that silly toy in her mouth, and off we go. Takes a few minutes, but I find her mom, Selma. I deposit Sylvia on a patch of wet grass. How can I thank you? Selma cries. No biggie, I say, and I head on, with fear in my belly and the odd taste of sloth fur in my mouth. Make no sudden moves. I've ridden around the grounds of the park in Julia's backpack enough to know every inch of the place. I've even chatted with many of the residents, but now everything is topsy-turvy. I keep finding myself in places I don't want to be, like the wolf exhibit. Near the entrance, a sign lies crushed on the ground. It has a picture of a gray wolf with an arrow pointing one way and another arrow with an emperor penguin on it. To my right, I see a piece of hay stuck deep in a tree trunk like a pencil in a cupcake. To my left, water gushes from a pathside ditch, a broken pipe. The boiling sky has settled into a solid blanket of gray, and the rain's quieted to a steady drizzle. Still, I smell more bad weather menacing in the distance. Tossed into a bush is a large informational display with a photo of 2 gray wolves. I don't see any fence or barrier or intact wall, and it dawns on me that grumpy wolves and tiny dogs might not make the best of pals, especially under these trying circumstances. Just as I start to leave, a wolf on the sign seems to move, to blink. Oh, he isn't part of the sign. He's next to the sign. It's Kimu. Hey, I say. No answer. Something tells me I should hightail it out of there. Something else is saying, make no sudden moves. I hate it when my brain disagrees with itself. I split the difference, crouching meekly, doing the whole submissive dog thing. Kimu locks his gaze on me. I try not to make direct eye contact. A lot of animals find that threatening. But his eyes are mesmerizing, glowing amber and way too smart. He moves again. 2 paws appear. Big paws. Nothing like my feeble, shrimpy feet. These paws are the size of hamburger buns. Hamburger buns with lethal claws attached. And just like I do at school, when it gets to a good part, we're going to stop right there and we're going to pick up later. Thanks for listening, Lakeview. We'll see you next time.